R-A-M-P to the T. What is that? You smelling dog? That's me. I don't take showers and I don't brush my teeth. That's all I do is dig holes, eat, and sleep.
He's not a traditional pervert. He makes all...
Hold on. The phrase traditional pervert.
Just that intro. He's not a traditional pervert. Just that. No context. Just he's not a traditional pervert.
Did I tell you what Charles said at work about the girl?
What?
Dude, that was so freaking funny.
What
Charles
girl?
was talking about a girl from one of his classes, and he goes, she's super cute, average intelligence. And I was like, what did you just say? That was like that level funny, dude. He's not a traditional pervert. Welcome back to Tune In. This is the podcast where me, Marcus, and my co-host...
All of the creative juices have left my body.
It's a very specific name. I mean, we can't have that in there, but... But I thought of that. I thought that was pretty clever. I thought that was the joke you were going for, but then I was like, I hope it's not, because that's clever on my part. Tune In is the podcast where... that Wag Matters offers, where me and Karsten talk about cartoons that we believe are made for all ages. I liked the idea of me doing the intro while you're just every year contemplating your moral struggle. When me and Karsten talk about cartoons we think are made for all ages. So, the idea being, what's up, homies? Maybe watch this with your family. Maybe enjoy this. So, we talked about Dragon Prince Season 1, then Justice League Unlimited,
it all. Yeah.
Then Avatar The Last Airbender, and we're back on
Dragon Prince Season 2.
Season 12. So real quick, 12? Not the word 2.
I said 12, and I was just like, are you recording episodes that far in advance?
Yeah, dog. We're on that next level bullcrap. Go ahead and get this out of the way at the top of the show, just to make sure we don't forget. This is the last 2 episodes. We're going to talk about the last 2 episodes of Dragon Prince Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting next week, we'll be going to jump on that...
Star Wars bandwagon.
And we're going to be talking about Star Wars Clone Wars.
Season 1.
Season 1, Episode 1.
And 2.
And 2.
It's probably... I think it's a 2-parter.
Should we watch the movie?
No. The movie's garbage.
It's not very good, but isn't like
it explains where she came from.
Where did she go? Where she came from?
Cut now, Joe.
But I hate us. I wouldn't listen to our own show. I'd be like, no, bye, hate them. Unsubscribe.
Okay, so we're talking about Dragon Prince now, right? So
I blanked on literally everything.
Okay, so we've announced...
Yeah, Dragon Prince Season 2, Episode 8, go.
Episode 8. So this
Did you say episode?
Episode!
Episode 8.
Episode.
Go.
Episode 8.
Well, it's a good thing we bullcrap so much, because we gotta rush through these episodes, because we also have to give our opinion on the season as a whole.
Yeah. So, Episode 8 starts out where, with a brief little recap of previously on Dragon Prince. And
that's at the beginning of all of them. I usually skip it. I just didn't this time.
Huh. Magic of editing.
It's real life.
You don't edit your life?
No, have you heard the things we say when we're not listening?
Why are we like this?
Go for it.
So it starts out where you do realize this is a video podcast too, right?
Yeah, I know, but Danny was going to bed. I don't want to be the worst. Go ahead.
I'm bringing up IMDb. Just say your phone died.
I'm bringing up IMDb. Just lie. Just
Here, I can
lie.
break your phone real quick so that you're not lying.
My phone died, and by that I mean it was destroyed into so many pieces.
My Karsten was tired of me texting you.
Dog, you took... Okay, I don't want to put Karsten on blast, and this is staying in the episode. I, one time, had to carry a podcast for over half the time, because my co-host, Karsten, was trying to get a good selfie to send... I don't even think it was a girl at the time.
No, it was.
Karsten was trying to send a good selfie to some chick in the middle of recording an episode. to where, like, literally I would be, like, talking about the crap that we're supposed to be talking about, and Carson's like, I don't really like this one, and going up again for, like, not a whole half an episode, that's an exaggeration, but probably close to, like,
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Want to know the real kicker?
And I was like, dog, did you not send her any of them?
No.
I hate you. This is a bad podcast for bad people. Bad, made by and for bad people.
So the episode starts out with Callum, Rayla, Ezran, Zim, and Bait making their way up a mountain because they've...
Making their way downtown.
Walking fast. Faces past. They're not homebound.
Oh gosh dang it. I hate this.
Okay. So yeah, they're making their way back to Zadia. They've run away.
I almost did the joke. I'm so tired. I've worked too many hours, dog.
In the scene of the dragon fight, but like they're practically dragging Callum because he's like half conscious and he's like come down with some like dark magic sickness from using the dark magic. But his sickness is just getting worse and worse and worse. So eventually they just find it. Rayla's just like, you know what, we can't do this. We gotta find a place to like let him rest. So they go to they find a cave, and then from there they kind of start tending to Callum. But like at first, Rayla's just like, oh, this is karma for doing that dark magic.
German, I think.
Yeah.
You're like, here's the right one, but how about German instead halfway through?
It's karma for... No, I can't do it. I killed it.
What you can do? Do British.
Top morning to you.
That was a better Irish.
So Rayla's just like, yeah, it's
Karma?
Karma.
Karma. Do you want that? She was like, what the heck, dude? You crushed that done lizard thing, and your eyes went all black, and now Karma's biting you in the dang butt.
Karma's chasing the chickens again! Rayla's just super mad that he's did dark magic, so she's like throwing shade at him while he's visibly suffering on the ground. Not. He's clearly in pain. And he's like, and then it switches to his, like, we go into his head, and he's having a dream. But it's like a fever dream. And he like wakes up on this big pile of keys, and he's holding the cube, the magic cube, in his hand. And he looks at it, and he's just like, useless, and he just chucks it across the room. But then there's this shadowy figure that appears on the other side of the room, and the shadowy figure catches the cube out of the air. And then Callum's just like, who are you?
I don't know if this is what you're going to do, but I think we should go story by story for this one rather than trying to jump around and keep it all straight.
Okay.
Like, do Callum, do outside Callum, do Rayla, I guess. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it'd be easier to keep all of it straight, because both episodes probably, because they both bounce around a ton.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I guess I can take the dream if you want to take the side story.
Yeah, because I remember what happened. Good point.
Kidding. Okay. So he's like, who are you? And then the shadowy figure walks towards him. And as the shadowy figure gets into the light, takes off his hood. And it's him. But stronger. And then he holds the hooded, shadowy Callum holds the cube out to regular Callum. And then gives him this long spiel about how you were born to do dark magic. And you just need to accept your fate and just accept the dark magic. But Callum's just like, no, I can't. It's wrong. I shouldn't. And dark.
I mean, like, because I will interject him because this actually is like a thing I wanted to talk about and like thought of. This show, you know how like there's a lot of stereotypes in like writing, like not stereotypes, like cliches in writing and stuff like that. And you go like, well, obviously this became a cliche because it's like narratively compelling, but like at some point people are lazy about it, and then it's not only is it not narrative compelling anymore, it's really overplayed, and also you've seen it so many times, and it's also usually poorly written, so you get mad at it. I watch a lot of TV, and this kind of thing happens a lot. And I've been commenting on, and we'll get there, like, I think Season 2 of Dragon Prince might be a perfect 10 of a season of TV. I can only name, like, 4 other times I've seen that out of all the TV I've watched. And watching this episode, I was a little nervous because I've seen a lot of dream sequences, I've seen a lot of people having inner monologues to themselves in dreams and stuff, and it's usually played, and it's usually poorly written, and it's usually, like, bad, and it really takes me out. This show is good about teaching, like, for me, a thing this show does really well is, like, showing you cliches exist for a reason, because they work really well. So, like, rather than just playing on a cliche because it works well, you go, here's a cliche, but let me expound and actually dig and, dig this for the gold that's in there, and not just drop the cliche in. Because, like, they do that with this, they do this with, like, certain just elements of they lose this thing, or they get close to, like, I think we're going to do, like, this kind of thing. And they never overstay their welcome, and they always use it. They always go deeper than just the surface level of the cliche to make it go, oh, it's going to be this kind of episode. And I respect this show a lot for that. Because, like, I was thinking back to last season a lot, and this show's done a lot of, they'll do a thing, and I go, I think they're about to set a new status quo, or they're about to do this, and that's going to suck. And they usually don't do it, and if they do it, they do it in a better way than I thought. And it also is never, no status quo in the show overstays this well done. Also, which is neat. But I also want to say kudos for doing, like, a dream sequence, like, self-talk, like, thing.
Yeah, they did it really well. Mm-hmm. So,
because I thought it was going to suck. When this episode started, I didn't think I was going to like it.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I did, but go ahead, sorry.
So, Callum's just like, no, dark magic is wrong. I shouldn't do dark magic. And the Dark Callum's just like, but it was so easy. And, like, this came so naturally to you, so easy. You can actually, if you use this, you can do magic. Because, like, you're a human, so you don't have magic in you. But this will let you do magic. And Callum's just like, no, I shouldn't do it.
But am I gonna?
Yeah, and then the Dark Callum's just, he holds out the cube and he's like, but you really want to. Kind of thing. It's like that whole temptation kind of thing. And Callum starts...
I don't need you, I don't need you, I don't need you, but I want you. Remember that line?
I don't.
Okay, no, sorry. Well, that joke super didn't land on him. Sorry.
So we get that whole, like, temptation, like, back and forth between Callum and his inner self. And he starts reaching out to... Good Callum starts reaching out. He's like, you know what? Maybe I should take it. So he starts reaching out for the cube. But then right before he touches it, you hear his dad, King Harrow, Heroin Man, call out to him. And the camera, like, pans over, and King Harrow is chained to the throne, kind of, like, in the background. And he gives Callum this whole speech about how you are free to make your own destiny. You don't make the same mistakes that I did, and chain yourself to, like, metaphorically speaking, chain yourself into the wrong path, and don't use the dark magic. So then we get this little moment of realization for Callum, where he realizes that he can create his own destiny. He doesn't need to, like, even though this Dark Callum's been telling him, you were born to do dark magic. Dark magic is your destiny. He's like, no, I'll make my own destiny. And then, he kind of defeating that inner demon, he's transported to the next phase of the dream. After we get a little comedic banter between him and Dream Harrow. So what was the next part? Oh yeah, the next part of the dream, he ends up in this...
it's the boat.
Yeah, he ends up back on the boat with the blind pirate. And...
Valak? Vedic? I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Valak, something like that. I can't remember. I'm not good with names. So, then we get this whole thing. Not gonna lie, this scene was a little less memorable for me. Excuse me. I can't remember as well what the point of this section of the dream sequence was about. Like, what he was trying to find there.
I think it was just filler. It was like a...
Moving to the next part.
Yes, it was the transition to him talking to his mom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember now. So he's... so he gets on the boat, and he has this conversation about with the pirate captain. And the captain's saying, you need to... he's telling him to do all these kinds of things, like hoist the mainsail and take the helm or the wheel, or steer the boat. And Callum's like, why? I don't know how to do any of this stuff. And the captain's like, well, sometimes there are things that we don't know how to do, but we got to take control because it's your journey that you're on, so you got to take control. You can't let other people control it for you. We switch over to Callum having, like, remembering when he smashed the storm orb. I can't remember what it was called. The
Primal Stone.
Yeah, smashing the Primal Stone. And when he smashed the Primal Stone, the boat shattered, and Callum fell into the water and started drowning. And then, as he's drowning, he's hearing voices all around him. And then eventually it goes black, and he's, like, gasping for air. And then it cuts back, and he's sitting on his bed with his mother, and his mother's trying to calm him and relax him, tell him, just breathe. Breathe. Take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. And she's calming him, and she gives him this little inspirational monologue, and suddenly he wakes up, and we're back to the real world. So now, what was Rayla doing during all of this?
Rayla was just kind of comforting him the whole time, but other stuff was happening in the episode. So, if you guys remember what happened in the last one, Soren was paralyzed. So the rest of this episode, we kind of split between Claudia and Soren trying to deal with Soren and his paralyzation, I guess I would say that.
Paralysis.
That probably makes more sense. But as they're working on that, which this episode, not a whole lot comes from it, not the first part of the episode at least, Soren is taking it better than you would expect him to, which you gotta have a little bit of an arc for Soren and Claudia. More so Soren, because he's been more of a by-the-numbers kind of bad guy for parts of the season. Excuse me. But Soren kind of takes it in stride, actually, and he's, like, I mean, it's played as jokes, and it is funny, like, he talks about how he wants to be a poet and stuff like that, and it's, like, again, clever and funny writing, but, it's more so they connect over this little bit of, trying to help each other, and we'll get a little bit more into that in the next episode, but another thing that happens is, what's that guy's name? Jason Castro. Castro?
Yeah.
Castro. We're going to call him Castro. Castro, the tracker that their aunt sent, has been following them for a while now, and he actually approaches them, and there's like a cool standoff scene between
him and
Rayla.
Yeah.
But Ezran's pretty much like, no, everybody's cool. So everybody stands down except for Rayla flexes on him, which is very good. Like, just like one of the... As he walks by, it's so good. It made me laugh. But, he says something about Ezran being the king, so Ezran finds out...
He puts two and two together in his head. He's like, no way that this is actually possible. Yeah. And then he has a little breakdown there.
And then he wants to go on a walk, so he goes to leave, and he kind of tells everybody to screw up, because everybody's like, we're going to follow you. And he's like, no, I got it. Bye. I'm out. It's been Trill. That's True and Real put together. Screw off. I'm out. Mm-hmm. And then he goes and tracks him later and panics because he thinks that he was eaten by some kind of lion thing. But we'll get more on that in the next episode as well.
Yeah, my thing kind of bridged over it. I kind of covered the whole
dream. I mean, It makes more sense that way. He doesn't wake up till episode 2, but it makes more sense to cover the whole dream at once, I think. Especially because there's a lot of like analogy and stuff in that, and my stuff's more straightforward. Mm-hmm. Then Viren.
Oh yeah, that happened too.
So Viren's been talking to the mirror.
Talking to the man in the mirror.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
I set you up for that one on purpose.
I'm asking him to change his ways.
So Dragon Prince, so yeah, he's talking to the elf guy in the mirror, and he's like, Viren's like, you got to tell me your name. Who are you? And the elf guy gives him this name. It's like Avaros or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like Avaros.
I can look up his name.
Yeah. So then Viren's like, I've heard that name before, but where? And he runs off. He takes the little.
I like how we look up some names, and sometimes
Yeah.
we just go with whatever bullcrap.
He takes the caterpillar thing off of his ear and puts it into a jar, closes the jar, and then runs to the castle library. And when he's there in the so he's like looking for all of the books on dark magic and the Moonshadow Elves and all that stuff, and he finds a whole bunch of stuff about Avaros. Avaros, yeah. But then whenever he reads the name, the page just disappears.
That was really cool.
Yeah,
Effect.
It does this cool burn effect where the page blacks out.
It's like ink. All the ink on the page gets wet again and pools out. It's really weird, but it looks cool.
And so all of the information about this Moonshadow Elf just kind of vanishes before Viren's eyes, and he's like, "What the heck's going on?" So he goes back to the mirror and he puts the worm back on his ear. He's like, "What's up, dude? Every time I tried to whatever information I found about you, it's all gone now. What's up with that?" And the guy and the elf gives some magic response.
No, he does. We skipped over it, but there's the part where he asks the thing for his name, and he goes, "My name would mean nothing to you." And what a good power play!
Yeah,
that was so not. It was
keeping that in mind next time I go to a job interview. So, what's your name? My name would mean nothing to you. No. But if I ever have to interview
for something further in Chick-fil-A. That makes sense.
If I ever have to interview for anything ever again,
my name would mean nothing to you.
When they ask, "So what's your name?" My name would mean nothing to you.
Okay. Oh, okay. One of those guys. Bye. I'm out. See ya.
Don't leave me, mortal.
Keep going.
So, he's like, "Come on, man. What's going on? You gotta give me something." So the elf kind of gives him some because magic explanation, and then he starts feeding him. He starts feeding Viren all these things about how he can give Viren power, and more power than you could imagine, all that stuff, typical Dark Lord kind of stuff. And so they kind of get all buddy. Not really though, but they chat, and then Viren's just like, "You know what? I need to do this, but in order to do this, I need to get the other kingdoms to side with me. How can I do that?" And the Dark Lord's Avaros is like, "Okay,
I can help you.
Just pass the reins over to me. I got this.
And Viren goes, "Why would I trust you?" And he goes, "I'll show you why."
No, Viren says, "Why should I trust you?" And Avaros says, "You shouldn't."
Yet. Credits. And I now know where the commercial's going to be. What's up, guys? We have an Audible sponsorship where you guys, if you want to, you can look up a book on Audible, which they have a whole bunch on there.
Tons of books. More books than I could ever read.
So many books. Just so many books. And you can listen to them for free.
More books than my library has.
Here's the deal, guys.
Audible is better than your local library. Boycott the library.
Audible's better than you, potentially, as a person. It has more worth.
Oh, that's not hard to beat, though, for me.
Got him! Audible is, dang it. No, for real, though, Audible is good. So, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I don't like to read that much, but I do like books a lot. I like stories a lot.
I like the idea of books, but I do not like reading words off of pages.
I listened to 4 books this week at work. And I've only worked 3 days. So if that tells you, 1, how many hours I've worked, and 2, how, kind of pumped I got it out. So, the books I want to recommend, or book I want to kind of recommend to you guys for the Audible subscription potentially is, trilogy, actually. It's called Wayward Pines.
Carry on my wayward pines.
That's where it ends. So the first one's called Pines, the second one's called... I don't remember. And then the third one's called The Last Town. But, they're really cool. And really interesting, and... they're fast. I liked that a lot. Like, they're longer books, I would say. I have no real reference, but, excuse me.
That's what I get for being up since 4.
Same, dude. I guess I took a small nap. Whatever. The cool thing about these books is, much like we were kind of talking about Dragon Prince earlier in today's episode, is status quo is constantly changing. Like, they'll be like, hey, this is the kind of new status quo for the book, and you're like, okay. And before you even have a chance to really get used to it, something else big happens that shakes the dynamic of the whole book, and you're like, what the, huh? But it happens, like, a few times per each book in the trilogy. Like, it's super fast. So where you're always wanting more. Like, this made me actually carry Bluetooth headphones with me at work, to where after I, like, got the signature and stuff while I was delivering, when I would go into the cooler and have to stock all the shelves and everything, I would have a Bluetooth headphone in so I could keep listening to my book. Because I was really captivated by it, wanted to get it done. So, if you use the link in the description, but I believe it's audible.com/Black Matters, you guys can get a 30-day free trial. And we get a little bit of kickback. So, thank you. We'd really appreciate that. We also have an Anchor sponsorship. Anchor is just...
so good.
If you need to know, one, how do I get my podcast to go everywhere? Anchor's got you. How do I have the ability to make money podcasting? Anchor's got you. Anchor is super easy. It's easy enough that, hey guys, I mean this with all sincerity and honesty in my voice. I'm looking at the camera. I want you to look into my eyes. I'm a dunce, and I can use Anchor. Like for real though, Anchor's crazy intuitive, and
so easy. Marcus can do it.
So easy, I can do it. It's crazy intuitive. It allows you to. It goes on everything. So that's how we get the podcast out to Beyond Pod, to iTunes, to the website. Like, all of it goes through Anchor now. It's super easy. As far as, like, application, or as far as adding it to a website or something, it gives its own, like, special thing that shows up. It looks really clean. If I remember, I'll try to edit in a picture of it. It looks super nice on the website, though. Mm-hmm. And also, it helps you with sponsors. So not only does, just by signing up and using the platform Anchor, you have the ability to get an Anchor sponsorship where you talk about their brand, like we're kind of doing right here, right now. Excuse me. Like we're doing right here, right now. But it also allows you to get the opportunity for other sponsorships. So, the Anchor kind of works as a middleman between you and sponsors, right? So if you're getting certain numbers that are appealing to what they think is this demographic, they will kind of have deals set up where, oh, if they're getting X amount of downloads or whatever, and blah, 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 then you can ask them if they want to sponsor a thing, and then you can do that. So Anchor's super useful. It takes a lot of the time that it takes to monetize, like a hobby or a passion like podcasting. It takes a lot of the time and effort away from you, and they do it themselves. So thank you, Anchor, for doing that, because technically speaking, me and Carson make money off of this podcast.
I do.
I mean, I haven't actually collected any of it yet. It's because it's like not even $1 yet. But and we've been using Anchor for how long? It's a penny per listen. We get a penny per listen. That make it to the ad spot. Not everybody does. But technically we're making money, which is, again, we've been doing it for like a long time now, and it's less than $1. However,
we are almost $1 closer to being rich.
Money's still green. No, but like, still, we can still, even as silly and dumb as it sounds, we're technically making money off of the thing we're passionate about and like to do together a lot. Yeah. And also, technically speaking, we are paid professionals.
Professional might be a stretch, but paid, yes.
I don't know. Name one thing we've said today that doesn't seem professional to you.
Traditional pervert.
Dude, that was so funny. I forgot. We also have merch. I think we should plug merch here. Right at the end of the show. None of us wore merch today because, kind of screw the Whack Matters brand. That's not true.
Boycott.
All my merch is dirty.
We're boycotting our own brand.
Yeah, I hate them. They cheated me out of all of my Kickstarter things.
Cheated me out of house, home, and pretty much everything.
No, we got hats, sweaties, cutoffs.
If you own
T-shirts.
scissors.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to own scissors for the cutoffs. That's true. Just check out our merch. It's comfy. You don't have a shirt yet, do you?
Nope.
You should get a shirt.
Because I'm cheap.
You should get a shirt. I want a hoodie. I don't have a hoodie yet. I'm thinking about getting a Whack Matters hoodie. Am I thinking about? I mean, I will at some point. I'm thinking about. It's starting to get a little chilly in the mornings now.
Mm-hmm.
Wear that Whack Matters hoodie. Maybe start a few conversations at work about my brand. You know, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, we got merch. There's a link in the description. Feel free to check it out. We'd really appreciate it. But we're gonna jump right back into Dragon Prince, the last episode of season 2. And we're good. So again, I think we should kind of follow it linearly.
Yes.
Not linearly. I mean, like character. So Viren's where we left off. We can pick up with Viren.
Okay.
Pretty much. This is like a really simplified version of it, but not a whole actual ton happens. Is Avarice pretty much goes, yo dog, you're gonna send assassins to every kingdom, and you're gonna kill all of them. And then and they're gonna look like elves, and they're gonna have elf weaponry, and that's pretty much, hey, I'm gonna help you start this war that you want. You're itching for this war, I'm gonna help you start it. So he teams up with him, and they combine their magic.
Shadow demon elves.
And
woo, spooky!
They spook and run to the other 4 kingdoms, and then he gets caught for kind of a lot of the stuff he's been doing. Viren does.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a really cool scene where Viren's like
straight up kills 3 people.
Like stone magic like crackling through his body. It looks really cool.
And like all of
dope image. Yeah, a bunch of guards attack him, and he kills a lot of them.
And, actually kills them on screen.
He ashes a dude.
Yeah, turns one guy to ash, turns one guy into ice, and then shatters him.
And then,
he electrocutes at least 4 other people.
They die. They're straight up dead. Eventually, they're overpowered, and Avarice goes...
He takes an arrow. Well, he legit takes an arrow to the knee.
He goes, chill, and he goes, I can do it. And he goes, hold on. And he goes, no, and he takes his power away from him, but the bug that they've been communicating with crawls into Viren's ear, and he's like, I'm not leaving you, but now's not the time for you to go full rage mode and try to kill everybody. And that's the end of Viren's story for this part.
For this season.
Where do you want to pick up? Do you want Soren, or... Well, I'm counting Ezra and Claudia, I guess, as one, combined with Soren. What do you want? I guess that makes sense to go next.
Yeah.
And then catch up to Callum.
So it turns out Ezran, the tracker guy, he thought that Ezran had been eaten by this panther creature thing. But then, turns out no, he had just, since he can communicate with animals, he hitched a ride on it. So, he goes back into town, and he goes back into town, and there he runs into Claudia. And when he's there with Claudia, they kind of have this little heart-to-heart conversation thing, and kind of have a little bit of bonding / healing moment that kind of repair the relationship.
She talks about how her dad and her mom had a divorce.
And she said, I know it can't compare to anything you're going through right now, but...
It was just written really well.
If it's any consolation, I know what it's like to lose a parent, kind of thing.
And again,
and it goes in. She her main point is, she
don't
says,
be a baby.
Yeah, you stupid orphan. So her main point is when her mom left, her mom made her and Soren stay with their dad because quote unquote Soren and Claudia needed each other and would be stronger together. And so, like, her whole point is, no matter what hardships you go through, as long as you and Callum can stay together and push through it together, you'll make it. So that was...
Because life's a climb.
Yes.
Just like Miley said. She's been going through those issues again.
Again? Why am I
not as bad.
Why am I not surprised?
She's, not Wrecking Ball issues, but Lady Gaga issues from Meat Dress era. Anyway, not important. But, like, the coolest thing I think about this show is just the consistency, like, the quality consistency overall. Like, not only do they pay a lot of attention to these big action, like, cool theatrical moments of, like, there's a scene where they fight a dragon in 2 episodes ago, and it looks dope. And there's, like, the scene where the dragon's, like, attacking stuff, or, like, the character design of all these things, and all of it looks so freaking cool. Mm-hmm. But, like, also, just, they're focusing on that a ton, clearly. And, like, we didn't talk about it. There's a freaking scene where, like, Rayla's in the foreground of a shot, and it's, like, focused on... It's, like, a wider shot, and Rayla's in the foreground of the shot, like, to the left. And then Valek?
The pirate guy.
Pirate Blackbeard's in the back, and Rayla's talking, and then as he starts to talk, it switches focus, like a camera would do, to where, like, it focuses on Blackbeard, and Blackbeard delivers his lines, and then it refocuses back onto Rayla, and, like, I've never seen an animated show do that, and it was really, really cool to see them, like, doing kind of new techniques, or more cinematic techniques that you don't always see in cartoons. But, like, they're focusing on, like, that kind of stuff. But again, that was a small dialogue-heavy scene, and they're focusing on, like, those little moments, because the little moments are just as important in a lot of ways as those big moments are.
Right.
And just this small scene that wasn't very long, that's Claudia just talking to Ezran about her mom. It's really well written, and it's, like, heartbreaking and encouraging, but, like, the amount of focus that they've done, like, hey, there's big moments that happen in this episode, but here's this, and we didn't, like, phone this in or rush through this little thing.
They take their time on everything.
Because we have big stuff going on. Here's this thing, and we didn't rush it. This is what it needs to be. And we focus enough time to it. But not too much time, but enough time. And it's really cool. And then she kind of learns that he can talk to animals. So they go and they find a milk fruit tree.
Yeah, because kind of gonna dip into the other side story that's going on. Claudia's been freaking out because she can't fix Soren. So she needs something stronger for her magic. So she's going to look for this milk fruit thing, and that's when she bumps into Ezran. So she finds out that Ezran can talk to animals. So she goes into the forest with Ezran, and they need to hunt. They start looking for deer because deer love this milk fruit thing. So they finally find a deer, and then Claudia's just like, "Hey, Ezran, you should probably go back with the rest of your group. They're probably scared and looking for you right now." And she's like trying to get him to leave.
And then he does.
And he's like, "Yeah, you're probably right." And he leaves, and he goes back. But, like, she's trying to get him to leave. She needs to kill the deer.
Because let's just say we now know what happened to Bambi's mom.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true, because it was a kid deer. We now know what happens to Bambi shortly after Bambi, the movie, ends.
Yes.
Gets sacrificed for magic power. So let's just follow this story all the way through. She sacrifices the mess out of this deer, and it's scary, and she's, like, all electrified, like, legitimately spark, like, arcing electricity off of her. Mm-hmm. She goes in, shocks the mess out of Soren.
And it heals him.
Heals him. It looks like it ages her or something, though, because like, she has, like, a gray streak in her hair now. Mm-hmm. And that's, like, the big moment for them is them working together again, but also... Oh, Soren also opened up a little bit earlier. Maybe that was the last episode. He tells him, like, hey, Dad told me to kill the princes.
And she's like, no, Dad wouldn't do that.
And he's like, no, he super did. And, like, there's, like, a weird moment of him being like, we still like our dad, but kind of recognize that he's a bad guy, but we also want his approval and respect. It's really interesting. I'm sure we'll unpack that more.
And, like, we get this thing from Soren where he's just like, all I really wanted was for Dad to, like, appreciate me and be proud of me, which is why I took this mission, because I thought maybe if I did this for him, he would actually, like, he would see me and be proud of his son, kind of thing. And that's kind of, and it's, like, really sad, but, like...
But also, like...
It's cool that we get to see him being vulnerable. That we get to see Soren being vulnerable, because it just kind of reinforces that they're not two-dimensional characters. Like, the writers have put time into developing these characters' personalities, and, like, they each have their own individual goals and wants and motivations. They have their own thing they each have their own thing that drives them, and they're not just there to advance the story, which is really neat. And I absolutely love that about this show. Like, the characters have real personalities.
Speaking of their personalities, Ezran wakes up, as you said. Not Ezran. Callum wakes up, as you said, and he's psyched out of his mind. And he pretty much explains, I figured out
to Rayla,
storm magic. Yeah. Because he's like...
I figured out the Wind Arcana.
Well, yeah, and pretty much, like, it makes a lot of sense. And to simplify it, he pretty much goes, I was using a primal stone to cast. And he's like, but if you think about it, we live on a globe. So I guess if you're pro Logan Paul and Flat Earth, it doesn't make sense. But in their fictional world, the world's a sphere. In their made-up fictional one, their fiction world, the world's a sphere. And it's the same shape and has all of the same elements that stone did in it. And he kind of learns how to use the earth as a primal stone so he can cast wind magic again.
And he does it.
And as he's learning how to do that, Ezran shows back up with Castro.
Yeah.
And they have a moment where they decide to freaking split the party. Ezran...
His name was on the tip of my tongue.
Castro. Yeah, Castro. Ezran decides he needs to go back.
Because he's like, you know what, I'm the king now. I need to go back to the kingdom and rule it. I need to take responsibility, because, like, he's like, I need to stop being a child now, and I need to grow up and accept my responsibility.
But he's also like, I know you guys need to get the dragon to...
So I'm not going to ask you to follow me. You need to complete your mission. But I have a new mission now. So the Tracker and Ezran start making their way back to the kingdom, while while Rayla and Callum finish their journey to Zadia, but they're almost there. Lost my train of thought.
They're almost there, and they get to the place to cross the magma pit, and then a bunch of moonstones show up, and pretty much if you step on any of the stones that aren't marked, you sink. And the moon's going through, but it's just as the day's kind of turning into day, so they're trying to hurry across.
Yeah, so that the path doesn't disappear. When the sun shows up,
and
so Zim is just like, I've got an idea, so he starts trying to...
the Zim and Baby Dragon?
Zim is the Baby Dragon.
As and Baby Dragon psychically linked.
Telepathic communication.
And
it's kind of weird.
Helps him fly. And then as Zim's flying, he starts to fall a little bit.
So Callum uses his wind magic.
Wingardium Leviosa.
No, it's Leviosa.
Dang, I hate you. And gets the dragon up there. The dragon gets on the thing.
And creates this larger-than-life shadow.
And it looks really cool. It's a very cinematic shot, and I'm a big fan of it. And it allows them to run over just in the nick of time. They get through crossover into Zadia.
And they simply walk into Zadia.
And... what's the dragon's name?
And then Ra's al Ghul shows up.
Then the giant dragon, Ra's al Ghul, turns and looks at them. Roll credits.
End of episode. If he doesn't have a dope voice, I'm gonna be peeved. But gosh, I will be peeved.
He'll have a good voice.
If they give him a voice.
I think he'll talk. He looks too cool not to talk.
They gave him a name, and he looks like an Elder God dragon. So he's gotta talk.
He looks really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you think of Dragon Prince Season 2, Karsten?
10 out of 10. I loved it. Probably my favorite thing we've reviewed so far.
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 10, like a perfect season of TV. 10 out of 10. There's not a ton to say about it. Like, we spoil every episode, but, like, again, we're not doing it justice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've highlighted, again, like, the thing I wanted to highlight about, especially the second season.
It's a visual thing.
It's a visual medium. It's stunning. They really, like, sunk into their style at this point. Rather than skipping frames that look cheap, they're skipping frames to add artistic choice and things like that. We've highlighted all of this as we've talked about it. But
it
again,
looks so good. It's a visually appealing show.
It is a show where everything is thought out and nothing is rushed, but nothing is also too slow.
The pacing is perfect.
The pacing's perfect, and everything they do seems intentional.
Mm-hmm.
At no point does it seem like they kind of, at least at this point, they kind of got ahead of themselves, or the story got away from them, or they're like, we didn't write this fast enough, or we didn't write this character turn enough, so there's a weird shift in a character arc, or something like that, to get from A to B, because they're like, oh crap, we need the story to go here. None of that's happened. Everything they've done, at least in this season, is very, very intentional.
And it falls right into place.
Really good.
It falls into place perfectly. It's so good.
10 out of 10.
Would definitely recommend.
Season 1's really good. Season 1's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Season 2's a 10.
Season 2 is definitely a 10.
Super good. But that's gonna do it for Dragon Prince Season 2. I forgot how short these seasons were.
Yeah, 9 episodes doesn't really last a whole long.
Yeah, dang.
Like, that was like 4 weeks.
Thanks for watching.
It
Again,
took us a month.
Yeah. It took us a month to watch 9 episodes of TV show, though. So if you think about it, it's not too bad.
Considering it took us almost a whole year to get through Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I got really busy. I hate myself, too. It's okay. But in all seriousness, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Like and subscribe.
No, you have no idea how much that helps. Like, subscribe, comments, all that stuff.
It also not only helps, like, the algorithms and everything like that on the behind the scenes, it helps us.
It boosts our morale.
It helps me feel validated for all the work again. I'm not trying to complain about having a crazy work
Stop
schedule.
whining.
I know people have busier work schedules than me, but, like, when I do work, like, a 15-hour day, it's not my favorite thing to go, I also have a podcast to edit tonight, or something, but, like, occasionally people say stuff, and be like, hey, thanks for, like, checking this out and listening, and, like, that stuff means a lot. Or I go and look at like the last episode and I see like, oh, has a few more views than I thought it did, or like something like that. That stuff helps a lot. We really appreciate it. Feel free to let us know what if you have thoughts on the Dragon Prince Season 2 or any show you review.
I mean, no one else on the internet's talking about it.
Or Star Wars, Clone Wars. If you want to kind of talk about that.
Or just any other Star Wars, feel free to comment. I'll give you a conversation.
Yeah, Karsten will. Screw that noise. I hate it. But also, if you have like any shows or anything to recommend, feel free to do that. We really appreciate it. But until then, I guess just
tune in next time.